to hear. Good to hear. First of all, thank you all very much for coming out. Without you guys, this event wouldn't happen. So thank you. Actually, we have next year's dates already locked in. October 19th and 20th, 2019. Same building. Coming back, I can say based on yesterday, if you were here yesterday, it was crazy. Based on what it looked like, we have surpassed like our attendance record. So yeah. You've been actually, a lot of you guys have been here multiple years, but you've been here what, 5?
Oh yeah.
And
I'll be here every year, even after
it's definitely been bigger. So let's do some introductions. Basically, it's going to be a big Q&A, and your questions can be aimed at.
Can we ask each other questions?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start.
Why are you still alive? Where did that come from? I live for you, buddy. In the comment section. Arlo, can we make out? Arlo, where's your pants?
They're the wash.
Good answer.
I got a question for you, actually. How many public appearances do you actually make?
This is one of my first. I've done, this is the fourth.
Fourth, okay. And you've been doing YouTube how long?
Almost 4 years.
Okay.
Arlo, do you realize there's somebody's hand in your butt? And if he's got a free hand, I have a butt.
Well, see you later, everybody.
So, if there's younger members of the audience,
leave, run.
Get out. This will not be a PG panel, just so you know. We're not going to be up here being like okay and shit. We're going to be saying shit.
Caca.
Well, let's introduce everybody. Over here, we're going to start on my right.
Where the hell's the drawer?
Alex C&D. Formerly, C&D is Captain Nintendo. Dude. Why don't you change it?
It's cringy.
Very, it's cringy. It's awesome. Arlo. You want to tell people what you do?
Oh.
Either of you? Both of you?
YouTube. You might know me from YouTube. What about you?
Same.
YouTube. Way to sell yourself, guys.
Subscribe.
Ain't dude.
You know what those guys do? I did the same thing.
I see a trend.
So are we officially, are we dropping trailer? You're officially comic Drake. Like that's the thing from now on, right?
Trailer comic Drake.
Trailer comic Drake.
Yeah.
Drake, everybody.
Formerly of like every organization. Spirits Eye, Game Theory, We People, former Evolve. You should just do a symbol. You just change your name to a symbol. No, I'm not Prince. Nobody is, right?
Aww, that made me sad.
8-bit guy.
Yeah, everybody's always asking me when they come up to my booth what I thought of the area. Just for those who don't know, I actually live here. It's actually pretty cool because I go to conventions all over the world. This is the first time I actually get to go to one, and I only have to get in the car and drive 20 minutes. So.
This is his first time here. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Boogie 298, everybody.
I also have one of them YouTube channels, but you might have seen me most recently featured at Jane's mom's house.
She says she's had better.
I know I filmed it.
Touche. Guys, you're good, though. I mean,
Damn! You had that in your pocket, didn't you? I came prepared, man. All right, I'm a horribly broken person. I anime. I also do a podcast with Takano 101 with Yes Yes Love Adventure Go, where I torture myself over visual games. And Unexpectable's D&D podcast. So I do a lot of stuff.
I fell asleep on the third word of that. What did you do?
I'll make everybody turn around.
I'm picking on Pumbaa this week. Where is Eric?
Yeah, if I don't have Eric to beat around, it's got to be you, man. Sorry.
That's why there's no gay right now.
We're missing Eric, Gerard, and Andre.
We are. Maybe they'll show up. Oh, Pat. Well, okay, we don't care about Pat. Norm.
Where's Chad?
Oh, speaking of Chad Tronic, stand up, sir. Stand up, sir.
Get your ass up here.
By Chad Tronic, his first year. You made me do it. I'm not going to embarrass you, but.
I mean, you can also sit right here.
What's up? I guess I'm up here now.
On the back row, we're going to start over here on my left, y'all's right. 16-bit Pete. Oh, guys, you can do it. Sorry, I didn't see you. 16-bit Pete. Published author on several different accounts. Brett Weiss.
Hey, I'm Brett Weiss. I've been writing about video games for 20 years professionally. I wrote for Star Telegram, and I'm maybe the oldest guest to ever appear at a video game convention that's not a programmer for the Atari 2600. I don't know. That's very
It's actually fair to say. It's a lot of stuff. Jordan Fringe, ladies and gentlemen. What's up? Hey, buddy. You're inside. Take the glasses off.
It's part of the brand.
From Super Beard Brothers, Alex Faciano.
I wear really garish shirts. I take off my sunglasses when I'm indoors. And, I'm from California, so that's why I seem weirder than everybody else.
You're like the epitome of California. Like if whatever your stereotype of California is, it's him.
I'll take
It
it.
really is.
I'll take it. I'll be that ambassador.
Funny story how I met this guy. Mr. Creepy Pasta, everyone. He actually is from the area, also he's from DFW. We met in February in Michigan. Yeah, in Michigan, we met in Michigan. We're at a con out there, and I overheard him talking to a fan, and they were saying, they were saying, they were from Texas. He said, he's from Texas. I was like, hey, I'm not trying to be rude. I wasn't eavesdropping. Where are you from? And he tells me his city, and I'm like, no shit, I live in Arlington. And we're like, oh, what the hell? So then I tell him what I do. He's like, yeah, I've heard of that. I want to go. And I'm like, oh, you're in. So, Mr. Creepy Pasta, everyone.
I make horror things with my mouth and throat.
And I'm Jay. My channel is The Game Chasers. So,
And he also runs this whole plane.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, give it up for Jay, everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. So, let's open up for Q&A. Who's first? How do you want to do this, Jose? Hey, how about the unsung heroes of any convention, the audiovisual guys?
Staff and security as well.
I'm sorry.
Staff and security too.
Oh yeah, staff, security. Especially staff, because they got to deal with me. Jose and his team are great. You know how you have? Do you know how you have the perfect audiovisual guys when no one says anything about them? If no one says anything about them, good or bad, then that's the perfect compliment. Because if it's bad, trust me, I hear it. So thank you, Jose, for all you do. Unfortunately, he's from Houston. Boom. I heard the Cowgirls won, though.
isn't.
It's the armpit of Texas. 100% humidity, 103 degrees, like.
It's amazing, trust me.
Right. It fucking blows.
Huh? Is it really that bad?
Yeah, how many want to do? If you got a question, come over here, line up. And again, you can direct your question to any one of us or all of us. Or, yeah, just Boogie. If y'all are just here for Boogie, we'll leave.
Jay, you should stick around. I'd like you to clean up afterwards.
So, real quick, this is my 6th Retropalooza in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which means I've been to all of them as a vendor and a published author, everything, selling my books and whatnot. 6 years ago, when Retropalooza started, there was hardly anything in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as far as gaming conventions. There were stores, there are like publishing houses, there are like game companies. The actual conventions, almost nothing. SGC. So SGC was awesome, but it was sort of a specialized community. It wasn't very mainstream. It was, they had their community, the whole show. But Retropalooza, I mean, I'd go to Classic Gaming Expo in Vegas just to go to a convention, go to Oklahoma, Tulsa. But Retropalooza, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Jay, and your pal, Billy. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Ready for the first question?
So, this first question I'm asking Aunt June. Okay.
Hey.
So, the question I'm asking is, where'd you come up with the idea to make YouTube videos, and who was your inspiration?
Too much free time on my hands. I'm in a camera and nothing else to do in my life. Which is honestly what led to it. I can't speak for anyone else, but I was just bored of doing nothing, and I liked video games. Some call me Johnny's cool. There's one of the inspirations. It's not exciting.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Thank you.
I have more of a request than a question. I was wondering if any of you could please tell my ex-wife Gina to stop keying my car. It's a Dodge Nitro, it's red. I would really appreciate if Gina would stop keying my car. So if any of you could please just tell my ex-wife Gina, that'd be fantastic.
There's kids in the audience. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
Whisper to me, go.
Well, I'm going to take that. I hope Gina is here in the audience and sure that silence speaks louder than words. Please stop keying my car.
So, Alex Faciano? Yeah. So, y'all were saying earlier that you're the stereotypical Californian, right? I was just wondering when we're going to see you in Austin. Oh, man. The next time I can go there for free, I will do it. How about that? Yeah, Buzzinga. That's the best I got. I want to go. I'm penniless, though. Send me there. I'll go. I'll do whatever you want. Let's go.
Are you literally telling me to do Retropalooza Austin right now? Is that what you're saying? As a city, not wrong.
Yes, to correct.
Okay, correct. Austin is very. Anybody anyone here from Austin? Yeah, go home. I'm joking. Fucking hippies. No, I'm joking. Not wrong.
That entire city smells like weed. Did you notice that?
Yeah, so I was in Austin one day. Right? I actually do like Austin, the city. It's cool to go visit, and that's it. But I'm in Austin one day, and I'm driving around. This dude's on the side of the road, and he has a sign, and he says, "Need money for weed." you know, I respect the honesty. Right.
You know, that's the problem though. You give him money for weed, he's just gonna buy food with it.
I don't want my money to go into food, I want to go into drugs. That's awesome.
Thank you for setting that one up, Jay. That was my favorite one yet. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Due to the fact that we do have new people on the panel, this question was asked last year. What video game would you be in if you had the choice to be in one?
What video game would you be in if you had the choice to be in one? Where do you want to start?
Play Voice of the Mansion.
Make that 2. That or DOA beach volleyball.
No, you don't.
Anytime y'all want to answer.
I'd go with Dead Rising, because why not? It's a mall, everybody's running out, so probably just grab some clothes and some free video games and try not to get killed by zombies.
Hell yeah. Those life-threatening circumstances, don't you?
Animal Crossing would be neat. The more you pay money, have fun with animals, it'd be cool.
No. Okay, this is an important point. Are you talking either Animal Crossing where you're the mayor or not the mayor?
Either way, I just want to be able to not have to pay my debt off until I'm ready to pay it.
No, there's actually a video going around about how Tom Nook is like the very definition of what loaning should be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
I mean, they're not wrong. I can pay it whenever I get the money.
I'm
I'm a YouTuber. I don't make money. What do? I spend it on Animal Crossing tattoos on my chest.
That's why you need to be a Twitch streamer. That's where the money's at now. Yes.
I'm making dozens of dollars on Twitch.
Honestly, because my stupid weeaboo butt is stupid weeaboo, I probably live in the world of Pocky and Rocky. It's just adorable.
Club Penguin.
Probably James Bond as the titular character for obvious reasons.
Being a Mario or a Kirby game, one of the levels are made of food. The cake ones. Yeah.
I want to live in that house in Earthbound that has no wall. I'm talking about prepping those.
Would you want to be one of the dragons, though?
No, I want to be one of like. Have you seen the new gameplay for Colossus at all? There's this guy who takes himself from heaven with a hammer.
You want to be that? Doesn't sound fun. So when I was younger, I kid you not, multiple nights I would cry myself to sleep because Pokemon wasn't real, and I wanted to be in that universe. So that's what I would do. It would be amazing.
No one else? No one else? Next question.
So, what was your guys' best moment in this iteration of Retropalooza?
They gave me some free pizza before this panel. It was alright.
When the fuck did we get pizza?
It
was like 15 to 20 minutes before this panel.
Super late.
So, favorite moment at this particular Retropalooza was yesterday. This guy, probably about 17, came up to my panel and he said when he was in 4th grade at school, he had checked out my Nintendo book in the library. It came out in 2010, 2009. And he had checked it out, and he said it changed his life. It opened up his world to retro gaming. He was in 4th grade. He wasn't aware of, Nintendo, Sega Master System, Atari 7800, which is what this book covers. And it said it just opened up his world to retro gaming, and he's been at it ever since. Now he's 17. He's really excited. He's really passionate about the hobby, and it just made me feel good to know that I had a positive impact on the kid. So. This is my first convention, so. My favorite moment was meeting my fans.
Here's some boobs over there. Y'all harsh. This is man's first con. Show him some love. Can we give a round of applause for Honestly, I think for me it was my panel, because even when my panels are small, they're always like ultra charged. I think the best moment, I don't know if he's in here, but is the kid that I grounded and subsequently ungrounded still here? Well, y'all was getting grounded? I grounded someone. He trolled me. This is what happened. I got trolled by a kid. I feel so bad. So on my panel, I'm giving away plushes. If you ask a question, you can come up and give away my plushes because I'm downsizing my apartment. And so he came up. And he's like, "Did you copy Matt Pat?" I'm like, "Dude! Wow!" But, did you? Now you're grounded, Drake. You can't do it, I already got kicked off the channel. That's okay, I did too, buddy, I did too. Don't feel bad. No, but honestly, I think it's like, I love this con because it's big enough where cool stuff happens, but small enough that you're not stressed out all the time. Yeah. That's why it's like, man, I don't want to go to big cons anymore. Like, people are like, "You gonna go to MagFest?" Probably not. It's just stressful. It's also icy in the north. So I just want to say, like, all the small individual things that happen, like, at the panels are the best things that happen. It gets me supercharged to get back home and keep making. Woo!
Can I go? Okay, I love Retropalooza. This is my 5th one, right? I was at 2 and then this is 6, right? Am I doing my math correctly there? Okay. I gotta say, every year it's always meeting you guys. That's the obvious answer, and you guys have been with me this last year, and I can't thank you enough. But I want to mark the very special occasion. This is the first convention I've ever gotten to go to in which I didn't have to use one of those. Well, that felt exactly as good as I thought it was going to be. Thank you for that.
I was very surprised that anybody remembered, much less gave me good feedback on the like weird YouTube video film festival that I did last year.
That was so
good! Yeah, it's crazy. That was really cool, but also I'm going to take this opportunity to selfishly tell you a hilarious story that happened that was the highlight of my weekend, which was that I was sitting with my friend, and he was hungry, and another friend was like, "I'm going to Raising Cane's. I'll get you some chicken. I'll get you a 3-piece meal and fries. It's going to be great." And he's like, "Sounds good." He's gone for about an hour. He comes back, there's traffic, there's a game going on or whatever. And he comes back with the food. He's like, "Here you go, it's the food." And he opens it up, and instead of giving him his food, he opened his Raising Cane box, and there was just 8 packets of sauce. $1 per cup. It's hilarious. There's pictures. You can find them. They're great. It's hilarious.
My turn?
Yeah, whatever you want to be.
Well, okay, the best part about this particular convention for me was not having to get on a plane to come here. But
Yes.
I do have one little funny story though. Yesterday, when my panel was, I think at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. When I went up to the line, over to the front line, I don't know who he was, some employee, I hope he's not here listening to me, but he told me I'd have to wait in line, and I said, "I have to wait in line to get my own food." And I just thought that was funny. I had my AVIC guy shirt on, so I just thought it was kind of funny.
Was it security or staff? Was it people with the metal detectors or staff?
I think it was staff.
Okay. It's just regular staff because they're just trying to get into the panel. Okay,
Yeah.
fair. Because those guys don't know who anybody is. They're metal detecting.
Oh yeah.
They're not supposed to though.
You should have just shouted, "Do you know who I am?"
glasses out of nowhere, just slowly slide them on.
Anyone else?
There's no word ever.
The obvious answer is meeting the fans. And, but the real answer is I got to hug Booty.
And you can actually get your arms around me now.
Also, we got Dreamcast guy up here now.
Next question. This one's for Mr. Anthony Dude. I promised to ask you an awkward question, so I'm going to do that.
Oh boy.
Of all your fellow guests here, who's your least favorite YouTuber?
You just say me because I called you Ant-Man.
Yeah, okay, Chad. Because when I just met Chad at his first con, he's like, oh, you're Ant-Man. Unironically, he said that. So that was cool. So, yeah, now he's bottom of the totem pole. Everyone else is cool.
We all hate Jay. No.
My question's always asked at these.
Actually, everybody hates Pat. So the answer is always Pat. At least anything is Pat.
Michael, I liked you in Achievement Hunter. You look a lot like Michael. What? I have no quiet. No, I mean, Rooster Teeth. Yeah. Never heard that before. The first person to say that. It's true. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, so you really look just like it.
Oh, Michael, what you doing here?
No, I can't see shit. All right. That's I just wanted to ask whoever has a good answer for this. How does it feel? Is that like a surreal experience or like a different experience? Like getting back with all these like YouTubers you may have collaborated with before, or YouTubers you met online, and like how does it feel when you all just get back in one group again? Like what's the general feeling in the area?
To me, it's about like, I don't know, like something about this convention, you know, all of us like know each other pretty well, like for the most part, like I've seen all you guys a bunch of times. And to me, it kind of just feels like a summer camp or something. Like we get to kind of do our thing. We have our little schedule. We go get the mess hall. It's like good vibes. We like dog each other a lot. There's always a drama like that's not real. It's a good time. Like we all just like come and like smack our bodies into each other for a couple days. It feels good. It's a good vibe. So I think this is like the family convention for me. So that's how I feel. It's not really surreal so much as it is like getting to see the people that I wish I could hang out with all the time.
Since we all work together and we all like each other's content and we're all usually doing collabs and stuff, it all feels like a lot of best friends online that you never really get to meet. So a convention like this that's smaller, where we get to hang out and we get to go to the arcade afterward and stuff, it really feels like your absolute best friend from high school that you haven't seen in a long time. So it does certainly have that vibe of like, oh my gosh, we're doing this thing all weekend. It's great.
I think every YouTuber in this room, right, every YouTuber in the world is like posting videos on our channel like, I'm really mad at the algorithm right now. And I don't know why, you know, when you're in a group like with other YouTubers like this, it's just so nice to know that everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. You're like, algorithm? And like, yeah. You're like, sub box? And like, oh yeah. And they just drink.
I like the game show panel every year. That is just genuinely the most fun that I ever had with Retropalooza. I wish we could do nothing but game show panels, because that is definitely everybody's personality coming together and usually clashing in very awful, explosive ways.
You're the one that takes it so damn serious.
I almost threw a chair.
I know. I'm like, dude, relax. We won the point. It's okay.
We won by 5 points. I don't care.
It should have been 6, right?
Right.
Should have been 6.
If the category is famous video game soundtracks, I feel like, say, Mario would count.
Yeah, it's cool.
Anyway, honestly, no, I think I have to completely agree with Mogi, because it's like, the one thing about our job that we hate the most is it's lonely. Doing YouTube is a lonely job, and it's not because we don't appreciate or don't see the support that you guys give in like your comments and your likes when you come to our streams and whatnot. It's that stops, and then we're alone, and then we get alone with our thoughts, and that is the worst time. That's why people that's why YouTubers go crazy. That's why they become alcoholics. That's why they kill themselves. It's true. is because we're alone with our thoughts, and when YouTube doesn't tell us what's going on, and we're constantly thinking, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? How can I fix this? How is this wrong? You go crazy, because you're always trying to optimize. And so to be all together, when we're like, yeah, no, it's for real. It's like, algorithm, yeah. But see, we can do that here. We can't do that at home. It's like algorithm, depression. Few numbers, more depression. And you just slowly sink and sink and sink and sink. And you go crazy. So like, this is therapeutic as hell.
I'd actually like to say nobody else has that problem. It's just you because nobody wants.
I'm only saying that because Eric isn't here.
It's exactly it.
Every year he rips on Eric, and now that Eric's not here, I'm the new target. But see, here's the thing. I know that you only rip on me because you like me.
I only rip on you because you put out.
I mean, I'm not easy, but I mean, I know a stud when I see one.
My favorite part about getting together is fan fiction becomes real.
He's right though, because we've all worked regular jobs before, and when you go to work, you have coworkers, and you and your coworkers share what your job is like. But as a YouTuber, nobody else knows what your job's like unless they also do it. A lot of people don't know what it's like to work 80 hours on a video, and then maybe people don't like it, and then sometimes work 3 hours on a video and everybody loves it, and then there's just crazy stuff like that that's just really hard to communicate. And then of course there's always that person in the comments criticizing you, no matter what you do. I could post the cure for cancer, and there'd be 10 people criticizing me for it. Saying
putting all those doctors out of work.
Anyway, so there's just a lot of things that you definitely. It's nice to have somebody who knows what you're talking about when you're talking with other YouTubers.
Well, guys, I just wanted to say that I'm representing, I feel like, another group of unsung heroes, in that the parents of the people my son panics because he's now realizing I'm speaking out loud to all of you. I wanted to say I have 2 daughters and a son. All of them love gaming. All of them love YouTube. How do we encourage more female leadership? I see a lot of women here. I see a lot of girls here. How do we encourage more girls and women to be leaders in this community?
Stop gatekeeping. Gaming is for everybody.
That's really difficult because unfortunately, especially with I guess YouTube gaming, it's predominantly male. So anytime if say a stream or a chat or something like that, a female pops in, the guys act fucking retarded, like they've never been around women. Honestly, it's fucking sickening. Sorry, pardon my language, but it really is. I stream. I've been doing a lot of streaming lately, and every now and again I'll have to go, okay, guys, behave. And I'm telling grown adults this: behave. If a woman pops in here, act normal. Just behave. You know what I mean? Don't like I've seen the lewd comments that are made towards women. So there's no easy answer to your question. Or I guess the answer is, guys, quit being fucking assholes.
Chat. Talk to each other. Like, every interaction with somebody of the opposite sex isn't a, sexual encounter, you know what I mean? Everybody's a human, you know what I mean? We're the same species, all of us, right? And so, if you can just figure out slowly, just do it as much as you can. Fail a lot, I don't care. Just go and fail with your friends, all genders, everybody talking to each other, and find the things that are obviously true about this, which is like, gender doesn't enter into it. We like video games, you know what I mean? That's why we're all here, you know? So please, just talk to each other and figure out that you're people first and gender second. I would say try to find a niche. There's this
gal Trade Check. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of her, but she covers a lot. Yeah, Panda. Yeah, dude, she's great. But she more or less covers a lot of WoW and some other Blizzard here and there. But I mean, she's got her niche audience. The thing is that if you go straight into like all gaming, anyone's gonna get burned. Because it's so massive and bloated at this point. If you have any sort of like physical anything wrong with you, they attack you. Like that's why I didn't go like I'm gonna go hard into all gaming, because it's like they're gonna look at me and like you're a big round fat bastard. Yes, dude. Okay, I heard no. I think I speak for everyone. We're told like on at least a monthly basis that we're either not worth being like we're not worth living or we're not worth paying attention to. Like unironically. Like, we'll sit here and we'll say stupid stuff to each other all the time. We don't mean it. We just do that because we like each other enough that we can get away with it. Yeah, it's like a family.
I mean it because I hate you.
Especially Jay. But see, that's the thing. It's like, if you're fat and you go straight into gaming, everyone's going to call you on that. If you're a woman, you go straight into gaming, everyone's going to call you on that. Find a smaller audience, work up. That's honestly statistical thing that I can say about it.
That's great.
And I think another really great way to empower more female creators is by supporting existing female creators. Because you think about it, there's a lot of girls I follow, Cupquake and Zombie Unicorn, and these are people I actively support and even Patreon. And by giving them more support and making them more visual, we inspire other women who see them succeed and know that they can do it, and then they grab their camera and they push through the same crap that those girls had to push through. There are literal pioneers on YouTube, female creators who are pioneers, who are one of the very first gaming female creators out there, and by showing them love and supporting them and signal boosting them, you're encouraging the next generation right behind them.
Woo! So I can actually look at my YouTube statistics and see my audience, and it actually shows, it'll actually give me a gender breakdown, and about 98% of my audience is male. And even at that, I still get comments, which, even down the comments feed, people make all kinds of comments about, oh man, you're really ugly. I've had people say, oh, you look like a cheap, creepy child molester, just stuff like that. The funny thing is, I get that even from other men, but if you ever go to a woman's channel, women who have men watching them, which if you're in a gaming type thing, then you're going to have predominantly male audience. Men, unfortunately, like some of these other people are saying, are not always too nice, and they always want to judge the woman based on how she looks. And whoever goes into that is going to have to understand that they're going to have to be the recipient of a lot of really unpleasant comments. And yeah, so even I have to have thick skin, and because I can have 10 comments telling me how great I was, how smart I am, whatever, and then it's always the one I notice telling me some negative, stupid thing that I'm going to notice and remember, even though it shouldn't be. It should be the other way around, but it's not. And so that's just something that you have to when you get into doing YouTube, especially as a woman, you have to develop a really thick skin, because people are going to be constantly commenting about your appearance, whether they think you're hot or not, or whatever. So it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
I was talking to one of my female friends the other day, and she said, I was talking about all the hate I get online, for having notoriety on the internet, and she's like, wow, being a famous male on the internet, you get as much negative feedback as just being a non-famous female just walking the earth. And I was like, man, that's really depressing. Isn't that what it's like to just be a woman, like people constantly judging your looks and constantly judging, and like, man.
I think one reason there aren't more female YouTubers is because they have better things to do. No, seriously, there's a female, one of my favorite YouTubers is Kelsey Lewin, Lewin. Her dad actually was an announcer for the Texas Rangers for a really long time, so she has a local tie. If you like Norm, the gaming historian, check out Kelsey Lewin. She's really, really good. She likes the obscure stuff, like the Wonder Swan. Yeah, the sewing machines, the Game Boy. She does a lot of stuff on
Maybe Jay should invite more female creators in this game.
If there were more to invite, I would. But
all right, girls, we'll get a following between now and next year, okay, Joe?
I had a lot of cosplayers this year.
Good.
Boogie.
I love you. I'm sorry, Joe.
No, I would just like to add to that, like anytime you're putting yourself out there for the public eye, you're gonna have people who love you, you're gonna have people who absolutely fucking hate you, and you're gonna succumb to those comments. Just fucking ignore them. Know that what you're doing is good enough for yourself, and you know, just fucking push forward with that shit.
Hello there. Okay, I'd honestly like to know, what is the most insane thing you've seen or had happened to you in any convention ever, including this one?
Last year I saw Billy and 8-Bit Eric and Wood naked.
So the question was, what are the like most insane things that you've experienced at a con, basically?
Yes, that is one.
Oh fuck. what can I actually tell y'all about? So you know, man, I hate to bring this guy up, but the Chris Chan meltdown at Too Many Games a few months back in June, I was like 20 feet away from that.
See, earlier this year I went up to Washington for KatsuCon. It's more of a cosplay-focused convention. And this year I saw a bunch of unnamed, very famous cosplayers basically in underwear, completely drunk, singing a Bohemian Rhapsody at the top of their lungs for like 3 hours. And we were like, are they going to run out of booze or die? Or we just...
Let me tell you about Raising Kings.
I had a bomb threat called on me at SGC 2015. Yeah, so we were just having some fun in our. Was that the one with the Embassy Suites? Or was that
Yes.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
Was
So
that the last one in Frisco?
Yeah. So we took a solo cup and we took a trash can liner and we made a little parachute out of it because we thought it would just be a lot of fun to drop it from the top down. Because we were having fun with paper airplanes for a second, and then we decided to make a parachute and it worked perfectly. Threw it. But then about an hour later, the cops showed up. And we went, guess we're here about bomb threat? I saw that and ran up to my room, and thankfully there was the crowd of normal gamers that were, any of them could have done it. Now you know, it was just a cup.
All right, now tell me if this is too graphic. Stop me at any time. But me and Arlo were snorting at a Jay's butt crack. I was like the angry video game nerd. He was naked.
I'm stopping it.
You want to get some more cocaine after this one?
He doesn't even have a nose.
I'll tell you what, 2 years ago at Retropalooza, there was actually a marriage proposal.
Oh, no less.
Yeah, that was you guys all. Round of applause for these guys. Just so that
Where's my wife at? Should I tell the John St. John story?
At SCC.
Yeah, was SGC, was it 15 or 14?
I think it was 14.
I was at a panel, wasn't I? I was doing a panel.
We were at a panel, and I had John St. John sign my boots.
Oh no, that's not all. That is not all. So what happened was...
This guy's a killer.
I had a very low cut shirt. I told my friend, okay, I'm going to have John St. John sign my boobs. And she's like, oh, really? Okay. And she grabs a pen and starts signing my chest. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, he's not signing it before I do. So he's signing my boobs. I'm just standing there. He's like, you know. And
he was drunk, by the way.
yeah, it was kind of awesome. He's signing it, points at the name, and he's like, who's this? Who's Kylie? And I was like, oh, that's my friend. She said that you weren't going to sign it before she does. And he was like, oh, is that so? And then he wrote, the Duke was here, and pointed an arrow, like, towards my
Right. And then I walk in, and I'm like, where have you been? crazy, stupid drunk, so it's like whatever.
Can I tell my funny thing before I sit down?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. What was it, the BYP party? Was it last year when you came walking and wearing nothing?
Oh, yeah!
Dude,
it was 2 years ago in Houston.
Yeah. No. I was sitting.
No, there is no wait. This happened. Tell it, or I will.
I was just sitting in the room, checking my phone, and he walks in. Wearing nothing.
To be fair, Billy was with me.
This is true. But I'm sitting there checking my phone. He walks in, he's like, hey, everybody. Was it 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago.
I look over,
hotel party.
and then there's this crotch right there, and I'm just like,
It was a literal dick sock, and nothing else was on it.
The sock was on it.
The sock was on it, but it ain't nothing else.
I love you, but that's more of you than I ever wanted to see.
Jay, I'm canceling my appearance for next year.
Hang on, let me defend myself, please. So it's called a cock sock, not a dick sock. First of all, and basically what it is like you get completely naked and you have a sock covering your junk. That's it. Chili Peppers did that back in the day, right? So it did happen. I'm not gonna lie, it did happen. But me and Billy we're in our room and we're like, yo, we gotta go in there. We gotta we gotta turn the volume on the party. What can we do? And we're like, fucking sock cocks. Oh man, you should have seen this. We're like, oh, this is gonna be so good. We fucking walk in, I kick the door down, and we both sit here like this. And the entire room at the same time, because, well, they know us at this point, they go. Go right back into whatever they were doing, their conversations, like, and me and Billy are sitting there naked, with socks on our dicks going, really, no reaction?
It's been years. And then, no, you guys don't understand. My wife was here. So yes, Jay, you did get a reaction. Thank you for that.
I think I tweeted about it.
Yeah, you did.
What me?
Can I just tell you guys like a tight story? Like a neat thing that happened to me once, real quick. I was in Norway 2 years ago for this like really crazy con that is like exactly like this one, except
It was awesome.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
yeah. Retrospalooza in Norway. You should go if you could go to Norway. That was crazy, but it was a like insane experience. Billy was there. No, Jay was there, and Melville was there.
Right.
And Norm was there. Kelly was there. Gerard was there. It was a crazy convention. Pat was there, but one of the days, like we stay in Norway for a little bit longer than we would in another like place because it's Norway.
It's Norway,
It's
right?
the
You don't get a
happiest
chance to
country
go
in the
there
world.
every
It's
day.
beautiful. It's amazing. But the crazy thing about this convention is like once you're out of the country, like once you're in another culture, anybody who is from where you are from, or even England, which is like pretty far away, but like at least we're like English-speaking countries together, right? And everybody in Norway speaks English too, but it's just like you sort of like seek out the people who aren't from here, you know what I mean? And it brings you closer together than you normally would be, based on who you are in your real life. And so one of the things that they did at this convention was they invited a bunch of people from Rare, the company. And this was insane. We're sitting in the basement bar of this like hotel in Norway, and David Doak, who is the guy who made GoldenEye and Time Splitters, is sitting right there. And we're just sitting and having a drink because we're the only people who aren't from Norway in this entire bar. And then David Wise, the composer of like some of the most incredible, all the music that you like from those games, he walks in. They haven't seen each other in 20 years, right? They literally have not seen each other in 20 years. That was crazy. We like witnessed that meeting while we were drunk. Then, like the next day, we have like a day where it's a break, and it's like, yo, anybody want to go for like a walk? And we're like, what? Yeah, sure. So it was like me, Gerard, Norm, my girlfriend Kelly, Norm's wife, and David Wise and David Doak. And we like walked into the hills of Norway and had like a day trip together, walked through like the mountains, like got like philosophical talk happening, walked around this like amazing like hillside. All the lawns had like Roombas for grass on them. It was insane. We got to the top of this thing, we like took these pictures. We were like best friends now. Now we're like coming back down. We stopped by this like fish market by the ocean. A boat comes up, drops shrimp off. They start cooking it. We're sitting there having wine, hanging out. It was like an insane series of coincidences. That was the most surreal thing I've ever seen. You know, believe in your dreams, guys.
Alright, so this question is for anybody who cares about Smash Brothers, because Ultimate is coming out in a few months.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, who do you most want on the roster next, and why?
Bowser.
I love how every woman in here rolled their eyes at that.
I legit, so I've gotten to play a lot of Smash Brothers Ultimate, and it's really, really fun, but I want Waluigi on there so So many of the characters have been rebalanced. I feel like having an extra long arm fighter in there would be awesome. So give him him.
I've always wondered why Toad isn't on the roster. Toad gets no love. Like,
He's a move.
no, that doesn't count. Because no one uses Peach. Come on.
I want the ship from Asteroids to be a playable character. You'd be quite cool.
Shantae.
Master Chief.
Let me get Rygar in there. Rygar for Smash!
I know he's an assist trophy, which is one step down. I still want to see Shovel Knight. He would have such a good mix of moves.
Ronald McDonald. Come on, Nintendo. Also the Burger King guy. And Chuck E. Cheese. Okay, I'm done.
You're just hungry, right?
So this one is going to be directed to Mr. Green Plus again, but anybody else can answer. What is your favorite game? What is your most personal experience with the game? And that's it.
Just favorite game of like period?
Your favorite game. Your favorite.
Dude, that's like my favorite child. That's hard. You guys go first. I can think.
Everybody has a favorite.
I think my current favorite game is whatever game I'm like currently involved in, right? Like it's my current favorite show is whatever I'm watching. But I think probably the most influential game I ever played, and I know you hear this joke every year whenever I tell you, is Pac-Man. And they say that when you're growing up and you play video games, think of someone as the person you become. I don't think that's true. I played maybe 10,000 hours of Pac-Man. And that was true. I would be round and big and eating pills all the time and being chased by ghosts from my past. Holy shit, I'm Pac-Man!
I don't have a joke, I just have a good experience. One of the most, I guess it's two. One of the things that I remember the most was like playing the original like Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt combo. And I told the story on my panel. I scared my dad. I scared my dad because as a 7-year-old, I understood the numeric value of worlds and sub-worlds. And it's like a 7-year-old knows that? That's crazy. But as far as like touching, I think Kirby Superstar was one of the first ones that was like, ouch, super hit. Because I remember, I loved that game so much, I would actually, because my brother had the Super, it was in his room, so I sat there, denied him his room for like 3 hours. Well, I sat there and I tape recorded all of the soundtrack.
Wow, that's cool. Surprisingly, it's not like a horror game for me. It was actually Nights into Dreams on the Sega Saturn. It was like one of the favorite ones I had. It was in the very last level. Like when this was like a little kid, I was like 3rd or 4th grade is when I was playing this. But the very last level, because every other level up to that one, you have to touch Knights to make sure that you can become him and fly. And the very last level, you have this arrow that just points and says like jump off a cliff. And like everything I've ever played tells me that kills me, and I don't want to do that. So I actually sat there for like a couple of minutes, like I don't want to do that, I don't know what to do, there's going to be another puzzle to get around, so it's avoiding doing that. And then eventually when you do jump off, you start flying without having to have like anyone to help you. And I was, like, as a kid, that was super powerful, like, oh dude, that's just me, I could be able to do this the entire time, it was always me. And that always stuck with me like across like until like my adult life. So I think that's what really made that like my favorite game.
My favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy VII, which is very cliche, but one of my favorite memories about it, one that sticks with me forever, is I was very, very poor growing up. I did not have a PlayStation. One kid in the entire neighborhood actually had one. So if you wanted to see something like that, solid in Final Fantasy, you had to go to this one kid's house. And so we were trying to beat Final Fantasy VII together, and it just took months. We were about halfway through Disc 2. We were in an area called Cosmo Canyon, and we played it for like 12 hours straight into the middle of the night, and I could not find a save point, and he'd fallen asleep. So I just sat there and stared at Cosmo Canyon with the sun setting off in the distance in the game, and it's playing like the campfire theme, and just watching and watching and watching until I fell asleep, and I dreamed I was in Cosmo Canyon. And I'm like about to tear up because it really was one of those cool first moments where I realized like video games are important. Video games can tell stories, and they tell stories about us.
So I grew up in a part of California where like half my friends were like people whose parents like came from Japan and are like very like Japanese, like culturally people, and like all my friends spoke Japanese, like half of them, and like the game that I'm talking about is Dragon Warrior 3 for the Game Boy Color, and it was so I had no idea that game was not popular. I had no idea that game was not like as big as Final Fantasy. I had no concept of that because the game just like blew me away. We'd have like people, like multiple birthday parties I went to. The point of the birthday party was to stay up all night playing Dragon Warrior 3. Like, all of us just hanging out, eating pizza, the same game. Like we're not even like playing together. We're just like talking about it, having a good time. And in my life going forward from that, I think it's a good indicator of like what my personality is like, because being like a true blue, like from my childhood fan of Dragon Quest and walking out into the world and realizing like, oh my god, like this game that I thought was like one of the biggest games, like I could find no one who like could like really like get with me on that. And it felt like learning like a secret. Like it felt like the secret world that I had that was just mine. And every time a game came out for years and years and years, I would play Dragon Quest. I would never talk to anyone about it. It's not like something that I could talk to anybody about because nobody else had a frame of reference. I wasn't an influencer yet where I can like go online and be like, Dragon Quest 11 is a great game. Like there's nothing like that for me yet. So it was a game. It was the first time that I felt like it was something for me that I was doing, like, and it sort of created a relationship with art for me where I'm very like insular and I love to explore and I just love to like engage with art, and Dragon Quest is like the perfect game for that. And for me, like that's why it's my favorite. Like I have a lot of favorites, but like that's a real ass story for me right there.
I'm the only one to pick a non-console game, but yeah, Duke Nukem 3D is my favorite game of all time. My coworkers and I back in the 90s, we used to take all our computers over and have a LAN party. We'd play that game for hours, back before we could play that kind of stuff over the internet. And I actually still play that game today, like probably at least once or twice a week.
Back when I was a kid, I really used to like to play Mousetrap.
Sorry. It's kind of a cheater answer, because one, I got two answers, and neither of them are actually my favorite game, but like nothing will ever touch the magic of Super Mario 64, of just like the mind-blowing like technical aspect. But then Ocarina of Time, that was like the mind-opening, just like this is video games. This is what they can be. Like, so, yeah.
I know this is going to seem kind of obvious, but who all had a
Retropalooza.
My question is for Mr. Creepypasta, and that is, out of all the origin stories you have done for Creepypasta characters, which was your favorite one to make?
The only real one that I kind of wrote out was from like on my own, completely wrote was the Jane Killer story. Was one that I kind of concocted out of nothing because it was originally just like a little blurb that somebody had done. That's probably my favorite one. She's always been like the baby character that I've always tried to go around because like everybody hated her on the internet, and I was like, no, trust me, she's really good. She's gonna have a really good story someday. And then I wrote one, and everybody still hated it. I was like, no, stay with my baby. But that's probably the only one that I think I really enjoyed. All the other ones, like all of them are very unique, but that's the one I wrote out on my own. I think I have a stronger connection to it.
Hi, this one is for Arlo and then everyone else afterwards. Hey Arlo, so I've been your patron for about the better part of a year, and I just wanted to know, how has that been going as far as the process? Like, it feels good to give directly to the creators who are giving without having them worry about ad revenue, but is it as good as you would imagine on paper? And for everyone else, do you think that crowdfunding subscriptions is like a good way for the future of content creators, or is it kind of just another phase out as like Patreon and so on?
It's really, really good, and it's super beneficial, but it's also kind of like nerve-wracking because there's this like way more pressure to like deliver, you know what I mean? And like keep people happy. It's just like, oh my gosh, people actually like handing money, and that's like, yeah, but it's more beneficial than I can possibly even tell you now. Like it's just it's key. Like I wouldn't be doing a lot of the stuff I'm doing right now if it weren't for my patrons. Like give this guy a hand. Or anyone else.
In terms of, is it the next wave of the future? Absolutely. Absolutely. We can't make money on YouTube anymore. I think we've all run into that problem at least once or twice. Like, I try to do the most family-friendly stuff ever, and like really critical thing. I've just had like 5 of my videos get demonetized because they're too adult. Me. So no, it's like that's definitely what's going to happen. And the thing is that I don't think people understand how far a dollar goes. You want some perspective? One view on YouTube is worth less than 1/10 of a cent, if even that at this point. Like maybe 1/100 of a cent, maybe.
So we're millionaires. Yeah.
We're rolling in that sweet, sweet copper. So no, like 1,000. So like $1 equates to like 1,000 or more views of that, and that's how much weight it has. And like Twitch, I honestly think Twitch is the future. Like, because I've been talking to these guys about their own experiences with streaming and whatnot, and it's like, if you have like 200 subs, like think about it, 200 subs, which is microscopic in the broad sense of like viewership on YouTube. Like that's tiny. But when you realize that that's $5, people taking $5 for each one, all of a sudden it becomes a lot of money real quick. And I think we all sit up here and complain about how the algorithm is just screwing me. Like right now, I'm getting screwed super hard, and I don't know why. And all I know is that I still have enough people who want to financially support me on Twitch and Patreon. And honestly, for me, that's going to be my future, is consolidating the people that actually care enough about what I have to say and what I do, that they're going to stick around and keep financially supporting me in that way.
We really like money, so keep it coming, guys. Thanks.
I recently got on my Twitter about this, but I very much love every Patreon supporter that I have. I still feel a little bit uncomfortable with directly asking for money. I like to think that my content would be good enough to support itself, and I don't know. I don't like to eBay, as what a lot of commenters now say it is. I'm fortunate enough to where I'm getting about $500 a month on Patreon, which, with my ad revenue, is enough for me to do it full time, more or less. However, I recently looked at everything, and a good chunk of that is I have some really high dollar spenders, which I very much appreciate it. I got one guy who gives me 100, and I've got two guys who give me 50. That's probably about more than half of what I'm getting on Patreon. If they pull out, though, then I'm going to really tank down. So like you were saying, the power of $1 really is a whole lot. I'd rather have $51 patron supporters than $150. I don't want to discount his generosity by any means, but if one guy isn't able to give me $1, I can still be okay eating. If the guy pulls 100, well, then suddenly we have to reevaluate everything. But I really wish that the system would work. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is these days, where Patreon and other kind of crowdfunding has become a necessary evil.
To me, there's definitely a game to be played on YouTube. Like, there's definitely like a way to be a YouTuber, right? The problem with that is that the more oversaturated the platform gets, the less that game looks like making videos that you want to make to express your ideas to people who care what you think, right? The more you have to change what your thumbnails say, the more you have to sacrifice a subject that you think is not going to do well. Like, that's stupid, right? Think about this. Who here is like a fan of my channel? Who watches my channel? Who sees every video that I put up, right? I put up, on Super Beard Brothers, we put up a 20 to 30 minute video every single day, and we've been doing it for 5 years, you know what I mean? You know, it's crazy, right? That's thousands of hours of content. Compare that to a 2.5-hour movie that you go see in theater. How much you pay for that? Right? $20, right? Something like that. If you're like getting some popcorn, whatever. To do what everybody here who's raised their hand did, to watch thousands of hours of my content, right? It was totally free for you, right? That's stupid, right? That doesn't make sense for somebody who's a creator first. You know what I mean? You should be valuing your work higher if you're putting that much work into it. You know what I mean? There's definitely a game to be played on YouTube, but I think it's a different game than being a filmmaker or a director or something like that. And if that's how you see yourself as a YouTuber, I think that's not the platform for you. And I've been saying this a lot this weekend, people have been talking about this, but Patreon is a great way to create a similar relationship to a movie theater for your content. You want to get to a point where, like any store or product, people are fucking paying you for the shit that you make. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be a busker, right? Nobody wants to be a busker on the pier trying to get money any way they can and resorting to like the equivalent of like stabbing someone in the back or, you know, poisoning someone or slitting their throat so that you can get the edge over them. You know what I mean? That's not a healthy relationship for creation, right? So for me, Patreon, is it the way for the future? No. There's a million ways to get somebody to pay you, right? But as far as YouTube goes, if you're somebody who's like putting time into what you're making to make something that has lasting importance, a single video can be watched a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, 10 years later, I think you should be respecting your content more and realizing that the people that like it for what it is and aren't just like, oh, this is just another one of those videos that comes out every day, blah, 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 blah. Like, you look fat. What's wrong with you? Why are you so tired? Like, that's not who I'm making my videos for. You know what I mean?
That last one got me.
Yeah. I'm not making videos for those people. You know what I mean? I don't care what they do. If they want to watch it for free, I don't care. But you should, if that is ringing true for you as a creator, you know, if that mindset is ringing true for you as a creator, think about your YouTube channel not as your business model, but as a really big-ass resume. You know what I mean? And a really big-ass, like, commercial for yourself and why people should spend money on something that you're working your ass off on. Because if you make a video that's 10 minutes long and you're making a couple $100 on it and you spent 70 hours on it, you're making less than minimum wage. So, is there a single answer that's the way of the future? I don't think so. But I think that on our end as creators, if you know we want to, if that's how we want to be, if we're not trying to play that YouTube game and it's tiring you out, making you want to die and just like roll over and like sleep for 5 days, like, you know, change the mindset. You know, change why you're doing it. Actually put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be afraid to ask people to pay you for things that you put that much time into. That's how I feel about it.
Can I tell you guys that I check my YouTube email address And Bully says I can't have no more money because they demonetized almost 80% of my videos so far. And I don't think they're going to rush that and demonetize the other 20%. What the hell is wrong with YouTube? What the fuck am I doing to show goddamn... Oh, I hear it, yeah. It's just swear words, isn't it? But no, it's funny that, you know, I just want to say, I know that I give to a few really big creators, right? And I see big creators earning, you know, one of the people I fund earns $18,000 a month from his videos, Clarion Community College, makes wonderful Magic the Gathering content. And we all think to ourselves, what can I do that would mean something to a big YouTuber like Clarion Community College? He's fine. We don't need to give him any more money. He's doing all right. I definitely don't need any more money. But there's some definitely people here on the stage that even just $1 or $2 or $3. If there's a small creator that you discover and you find his Patreon, and his Patreon's at $50, you have an opportunity to raise that up to 51 or maybe 55. You're going to make a huge difference in that person's life. I really hope, you know, even just spending $5 a month on Patreon for a small creator is going to make a big difference, and I hope you guys really consider doing it. And stop giving people like me money. We're doing great. We're fine.
This is for any one of you guys who has played an indie game. Do you have an absolute favorite indie game, and if not, what's your most recent favorite indie game?
Slime Rancher.
Yogi's Island Express.
Messenger.
Binding of Isaac, which is getting a new expansion, a third expansion. Have you guys seen this? Oh, yeah, it looks like it is. He was hinting on it on Twitter. Oh, please, let me get more Binding of Isaac. Boxboy.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's called, what was it? Prophecy? I'm trying to remember. It came out earlier this year. It's like a sword fighting time travel game that's very Dark Souls-y. It's very interesting. It's basically, it starts out with like a murder of the king, and you keep reliving through the same day over and over again. And every time you live through the day, you get to follow another person in this battle and figure out who killed the king and why. And it got horrible reviews. I ended up reviewing it a 9 out of 10 because I thought it had a cool story and great like Dark Souls-y style combat. And it's just one of those games that was called The Prophecy, or no, it's what Omen Sight. Omen Sight. It's so good. It was one of those games that I feel like went totally undiscovered. So if you want to support a good indie game that came out this year, who definitely could use your help, Omen Sight. Spearhead Games, guys.
It's practically an indie game anymore because now it's a cameo in Smash Brothers with Shovel Knight.
Yeah. Give a shot to Hyper Light Drifter. I always think it's silly to mention games that are that successful, that are indie games, but like it's weird how many people like just playing it on Facebook for 100 people every day for 2 hours. Like I find so many people haven't even given that game a chance. Some people think it's a racing game. It's not. Get past that hipster vibe, watch the trailer, meet it on its level, and it's the best Zelda game not made by Nintendo. It's unbelievably concise, well made, and like just incredibly engrossing.
I'd like to give a shout out to a friend of mine back at home. He's got a game called Grave Ball on Steam. It's kind of hard to get past the trailer, but it's actually really fun to play. It's basically like Rocket League, but you take away all the cars. You replace the cars with zombies, and you replace the ball with the skull, and there's like hoops of fire that you can like throw the skull through.
That sounds awesome.
Actually, you know what? Now I say it sounds pretty amazing. But yeah, check it out. That was made by my friend Going Yumbo Games. Check it out. It's on Steam. Grave Ball. Fortnite.
Maybe I'm biased because I was actually paid to promote it, but there's this game Sleep Tight that came out. It's actually really good. It's like a twin stick shooter. It's like a top down. You have to like just survive as many nights as you can. It's like unlimited. It's good. It's on Switch PC. It's pretty good.
I asked this question during Gofa's panel, but by the way, thank you for touching the hug. But I wanted to know what was your favorite console you played on, favorite game you played on.
Ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
I
Game Boy Advance games, and the original DS had Game Boy Color as well. That is just a great system that had a lot of innovation for the entire industry.
Dreamcast and probably Shenmue. But also, I love Shenmue. It's great on Dreamcast. I consider it the first truly open world game where you can like walk up to random drawers in your house, open them up, and find tapes that are part of the soundtrack. It aged a little bit weird. Some of the people kind of look like puppets, but it's still a good game.
It's puppets.
So I guess favorite game of all time, Super Mario Bros. 3. Console. I gotta go PlayStation 2. There's so many games, good games on PlayStation 2. And it made PlayStation 1 completely obsolete. So.
You know, I never understood why, like, when it came to the newer iterations of PlayStation, it's like, oh, it's backwards compatible with 1. I'm like, why not 2? It's gonna be the higher demand. I never understood that.
Money.
I guess. I mean, there's no new hardware coming out that we can play it on, so.
PS1 Mini?
That's for PS1.
Oh, yeah, PS2 Mini next year.
Yeah, maybe. That's got 2 games.
Alright, next question.
Hi, thank you so much for coming out today. I was just wondering, so my question is 2 parts. One, I know that you all accomplish content creators. What's your projections for either the Twitch or the YouTube platform? And also, what could they do to make those platforms better for creators?
Got an hour?
YouTube could tighten that noose a little bit if they wanted to. I mean, loosen that noose a little bit. I'm afraid I get the struggle ball right now. I don't know, I feel like YouTube doesn't really have competition. God forbid they ever get real competition, because if they do, I can only imagine what could happen. Now, fortunately for YouTube, everybody who's ever tried to compete didn't have Google's money. But I always wonder, what would happen if Apple or Microsoft or somebody who really wanted to get involved? Amazon, right? And that's why I'm so grateful for Twitch, because that is Amazon, and that's what it is. I think Twitch is, I think both of those 2 different platforms have a fraction of the number of people that could be watching. You know, Hank Green said in the vlogs about their video game, I'm rambling a little bit, but that's what I do. Check out my channel sometimes, that's pretty good. But Hank Green said that 70% of media in the United States is still consumed on cable. How insane is that? That means 30% of Americans are watching YouTube. The other 70% are still watching, I don't know, Seinfeld reruns with that. And that means 70% of this market is untouched. That's what, how many 200-some million people not using YouTube yet? 200 million people not discovering Twitch yet. So, I mean, it's going to be explosive growth for both over the next 10 years. I think he said in the video, there's 100,000 cord cutters a year, 300,000 cord cutters a year. That said, I feel like YouTube is not as successful as it should be. It's going to continue to make decisions less and less successful across the board. And I think Twitch is making a lot of very, very good decisions. And I think anybody who's not got their fingers in both pies needs to reevaluate their business plan.
Absolutely. That's one of the first things that I did. And I tell everyone who's like, should I stream? Yes. I tell people, if you have a new idea, don't take it to YouTube. I mean, take it to YouTube, but try to take it to Twitch. Like, it's going to be the better place. Honestly, I think YouTube would be better off if it had competition, because it would get rid of some of the bloat.
Of course, yeah.
Like, if we could have, I'm trying to think of a good example that's not Pornhub. But if we had a channel that was, if we had another site that was like the Jackass site, where people could just put their dumb content on and not have to worry about getting slammed because mommy and daddy caught their son watching a no-no video, and it's like, just give us different sites where we can have a little bit of specialization, because there's no niche and specialization in YouTube anymore. It's literally just like, are you pretty and charismatic and look good on camera and are really opinionated? You'll go far. But I mean, there's not much else besides that. I actually just signed up for a Pornhub creator account when my videos started getting demonetized, but they were actually talking about doing a non-sexual category because their CPMs are way better.
How would they do that, though?
Great question. I don't know. Wait to find out. But they were actually, the owner has been talking about, because some people have been starting to upload non-porn content on there, especially gun channels are big.
Yes.
And so they, because of the popularity of weapons channels, they are looking into creating a non-porn version to be more creator friendly because YouTube clearly isn't.
That's something that drives me crazy. Just really quick, people always ask like, could you do a video talking about like the history of hentai or where it came from? And I have a good video idea. I really do, and it would not be like sexually provocative, but it would have to deal with that. And I could never make it on YouTube. It would get not only demonetized, it would be taken down like immediately. So I might do that. Some of my videos end up on Pornhub anyway for God knows what reasons.
That's me uploading those, by the way?
So playing off that, so that's something that creators know about that a lot of watchers don't know, which is that sometimes your content will just get recommended less, where something about it is just not friendly to the algorithm and it just won't get cycled around. My number one thing about YouTube that really drives me nuts, there's so many YouTubers rubbing against now, which is that there is no communication. So many times I'll work on a humongous, giant, epic, deep dive investigative piece about like Final Fantasy VIII or something, and I put it out there, and my audience enjoys it, and it gets lots of likes and lots of comments, and starts a lot of great conversation, and I can see it getting posted on Reddit and Facebook, but YouTube just never spreads it, and it seems like I'm following all the rules. And I wish that there was some sort of like YouTube creator liaison where they could just occasionally talk to us and go, hey, right now, we're not too worried about watch time. We want people to seem like they're happier with your content. So maybe make stuff that is more on brand, or I feel like we can't be experimental. So many YouTubers now all seem like they're looking and talking the same. I'm sure a lot of you notice that. It's because everyone's trying to follow these invisible rules that are constantly shifting around us.
They don't even know it. Have they not reached out to you? No, they actually have a small program. Okay. Oh yeah, that's BS. That's nothing.
It's complete. That small program is completely worth it. I actually spoke to a, I do have a YouTube rep. I don't want to single out any particular person to YouTube, but I had a YouTube rep not too long ago tell me, Francis just is not going to work that well in the current algorithm. Maybe that's something you want to do less of. And that's why I started Fridays with Francis, and I'm uploading one every week because they're not going to tell me what the hell to do. Also, check out every Friday with Francis video.
To me, the difference between Twitch and YouTube at the beginning is very obvious. Like, one is the video site, and one is the site when you want to see something that's happening right now. But if you look at the trajectory of these two companies, both of them got bought by a giant data company. Both of them are like on the same trajectory. YouTube's about 5 years, 6 years behind Twitch on that, right? They're already at their sort of apex, sort of like saturation level right now in terms of like how capable the company YouTube is of running itself. Like, it's pretty nuts how few people who are on the platform have any way of communicating with YouTube directly. And Twitch is starting to get to that point as well. But remember when Starbucks closed like a shitload of stores and doubled down on like getting good at what they do and like got themselves into a manageable place where they could just pivot and like return to the market with a bunch of new ideas? I think that's where YouTube is headed. I think YouTube is at the point where they're getting to this thing where they're going to realize they need to like sort of like bend a little bit. And Twitch is not having to worry about that right now because in the like sort of like world of creators right now, it feels like Twitch is kind of like the good guys. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty like goodwill is like everywhere on Twitch right now. I feel like we all are like, yeah, Twitch is tight. But Twitch is like sort of like adding things like videos, and they're trying to, I think the one thing that's different is that they're going towards like a sort of like star-focused thing rather than just like an algorithm, really. But I think that if we look 10 years down the line, what we're going to see, if it goes along this track, is that they're just going to sort of like meet each other in the middle and be like really damn similar to each other, like extremely similar to each other. And I think the way that that is going to be solved is if one of those companies really just decides to take like a big ass left turn and do something radical. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know that there's going to be much reason to go on one or the other soon, because YouTube has to change. they're so hated. Like, everyone here is like, ugh, the algorithms, they don't even really know what they're talking about. Like, people come up to me and they're like, I hear your videos are being demonetized. I'm like, not me, but like, yeah, it's happening sometimes, but it's like, it's a really specific problem that nobody really knows what it is. And I'm sure that YouTube does, but I think they need to figure out what that is, you know, sort of like create some sort of goal, achieve it, and I think Twitch needs to like not just be YouTube. Amazon is a scary company, Google is a scary company. I think that the best thing for both of those platforms is to move away from that image a little bit. And YouTube is really close to it, and Twitch feels like a punk rock band right now. But they're getting there, so, you know, keep your wits.
So I haven't really had any problem with YouTube. Everybody's probably going to be looking at me with angry faces, but but I haven't had any demonetized videos. The worst I've had is occasionally I get videos that I get a copyright violation from music that I paid to use, which is really irritating, and then I have to go fight. I always win, but it's a pain in the butt to have to deal with it. But yeah, I mean, I keep having all these other creators ask, David, aren't you having problems with the algorithm? I'm like, no, my channel keeps growing really fast, so I don't know what it is. But I can say that I think the long-term problem that YouTube has is that they'll let anybody upload a video, which that's great. That's how they got started. So don't get me wrong, that's a good thing. But you know, you've got a video service where you've got 6-year-olds uploading stuff they took with their iPhone that nobody else really wants to see. And then you've got professional people also making videos on YouTube that are, you know, actually making money and getting millions of views. But I think there needs to be, like he said, there needs to be some competition for YouTube, and right now there isn't any. But I think there also needs to be some kind of, something that's in between YouTube and Netflix, right? Where you can take those professional creators who aren't quite professional enough, you know, for Netflix, but they definitely need to be separated from the 6-year-olds uploading videos for their pals to see, because it makes it really difficult, because YouTube has to have an algorithm to figure out what videos to recommend to you, because nobody wants to log on to video, or nobody wants to log on to YouTube and be recommended to watch some 6-year-old's thing he shot with his phone, you know. So there's got to be some way to separate them out. That's just my opinion, anyway.
I don't know, I'd like to see some 6-year-olds shooting their phones. That'd be pretty interesting stuff, actually. Well, your videos are way better than that, but don't get me wrong. I'd just like to see like someone doing like Vindy, like figures, like dancing. Is there a way to find that on YouTube? It's a really weird shit.
Alex's panel last year. It's the best panel ever made. I worked a whole hour on it.
I'd like to ask YouTube to stop showing people my videos. They're not that good. It puts too much pressure on me. Okay, that's it.
Last question.
Okay, so this is a little bit loaded, and I'm not sure how many of you guys are parents. This is a parental question and very philosophical, because I have a 12-year-old stepdaughter. She is obviously very into YouTube. All of her friends are into YouTube. A lot of her friends have cell phones. She does not have a cell phone. So on one side of the fence, I'm a very artistic, openly liberal, super weirdo, right? And I don't really advocate censorship. But on the other hand, my daughter's pretty easily influenced. And a lot of the content that even her 10-year-old friends are watching is just, on one hand, it's a little obscene, maybe a little violent. On the other hand, it's just idiotic. I mean, it's just...
You can just say the Paul brothers.
It's not the best influences, however you spin it. So what do you guys suggest? How can this be fixed? Like, me personally, I think it would be really cool if I could not necessarily block YouTube, but allow certain channels, right? You know, no offense. I mean, you guys that I watch, I would not put on my daughters. There's a reason why she's not here in this panel. Right? You know?
YouTube used to have the YouTube Kids app, and I guess that does still exist, so that's a good option.
It sucks.
And then even some of the content that makes it through to YouTube Kids is kind of exploitive. You know, I talked to one parent who said that they don't own a television. They don't watch television. They're on there. When they do watch content, it tends to be, you know, like DVDs or downloaded movies, things along that lines. So their kids were never seeing commercials.
Yeah.
And then they gave them an iPad when they were 6 with YouTube. And then the next thing you know, their Christmas list the last year was literally 0 things, and the next year was 100 things long because these kids are very easily influenced. And so a lot of that's always going to come down to parental responsibility, and I hate to put that on parents because it's almost impossible to really do, but a lot of it will come down
It's absolutely their responsibility.
from your influence, right?
But the most responsible thing for me to do is just block YouTube.
Right, and that's definitely a
Which
very
is what
fair option. That is definitely a very fair option. I wish that YouTube gave you more tools to be able to set up an account and then be able to, you know, pick and choose. Literally exactly what you said. Hey, I'm going to whitelist this channel. I'm going to whitelist that channel. That would be such a wonderful thing for YouTube to do. And honestly, I don't know why they haven't. And you should take that to YouTube because they're always looking for ways to make the site better, to make it more interesting. That would take some of the pressure off of this algorithm nightmare that we're all dealing with and put it into your hands, and we would all like that very, very much, please.
I am a parent, and you were asking this to parents up here, and I know at least one other person up here is at home, 2 at least.
I gave birth to a food baby earlier in the bathroom.
You said the easy thing is to just block YouTube. I think that's a lazy thing, personally. My son watches a ton of YouTube. I can't stand the shit he watches because it's Minecraft, it's Fortnite, it's those bullshit videos in my opinion. But I'm listening to everything that he's watching. And if he puts on a video and it sounds like me, the way I talk in class, then you step in. Like you have to be involved. Don't like you just blocking YouTube it's nothing. I mean it's a lazy way to do it in my opinion. Unfortunately, there's nothing set up. No, there should be something set up, but there's nothing really set up to where you can say, don't watch the Game Chasers, don't watch Boogie, don't watch, you know what I mean? It's just, you have to be involved. Don't be a lazy parent. And that, I'm not attacking you when I say that, or anyone else in the audience, just don't be an involved parent.
Well, we do watch some content together. I can't leave her with her laptop. I can leave her in her laptop, with her laptop in her room for 4 hours playing Roblox, but not on YouTube.
Sure. Okay, well, I'd like to say a few things about that. First of all, I agree with him. I wish there was a way you could just white those channels. I think that then maybe someday that they'll have that. I don't know if you watch me or not. You do? Okay, yeah, well, when I started going to conventions a few years ago, I had a lot of parents come up to me and tell me how glad they were that my content was always family friendly. And I never really went out of my way to make it that way. I guess that's just the way I am. But once they started telling me that, and they didn't bring their children up to get me to sign autographs for them and stuff, it really made me think about that. And so every time in the future that I thought about showing some kind of game or something that had a lot of, maybe not necessarily G-rated stuff in it, it actually made me think. I'm like, no, I remember those kids that came up to see me at that convention. No, I'm not going to put that in there. I even thought about doing a video a few years ago about 8-bit porn, like how we used to have it back in the 80s, without actually showing anything, but then I got to thinking about that again. I'm like, I just can't put that on my channel. I'd like to. I think it would be interesting.
You could put it on Pornhub.
But I'll also say, though, that, my wife and I have very different opinions on when it comes to screening stuff from my daughter. I think she's probably in here somewhere. She's 15. But even since she was younger, because my wife's like, she can't watch that because there's cussing in there. And I would always just tell her, you know what? I used to be that age. I know how all the kids at school talk. She's not going to hear anything on TV that she hasn't heard 100 times every day at school. So I don't know if your kids go to public school or not, but that's just always been my opinion on screening that kind of stuff. At least just cussing and stuff. And even though I don't talk that way myself, I can't pretend that it doesn't exist everywhere she goes. So.
Well, you can get away with a couple curse words here and there behind the teacher's back, but there's some things you just can't get away with at school. Yeah, that's why I don't feel comfortable leaving my kid alone in the room with YouTube.
The monitor what she's doing, and it sounds like you are. Good job. You're doing it right.
And I was going to say, I have a niece and nephew who are 9 and 10, and I spend a lot of time with them, and I play a lot of Nintendo Switch with them. It's actually the first time they've ever gotten to play a video game that wasn't on a cell phone, and they're really into it. And then they go to YouTube, and something I've noticed about a lot of kids, between like 8 and 13, I think they start to realize what they can and cannot handle. I've definitely had kids, when I'm trying to show them something, tell me whether they can handle, like, okay, this is content that I don't really understand, or this is content I don't really like. Like, this clip from RoboCop is probably too much for me because of that, his spine ripped out. Like, they're very clear about it. So I think watching it with your daughter is like a good step, but also, like, if you can, definitely try and figure out if there's stuff she could sit and watch. You could also download playlists for her. There is that ability now of, like, you can save videos by the way, with YouTube Red, just to, like, curate the content a little bit beforehand. Like, oh, she said she liked this, she said she liked this. Here's re-recommended videos. I'll get those already. But it's time consuming, but just as an alternative option.
A couple of us are joining you late. I'm glad to be a part here. I had a great time at Retropalooza 6. Now I'm in here for the Let's Ask Boogie questions for 2 hours and listen to them answer panel. I've just been making fun of Goomba, so he's really relieved that you're here.
Where the hell have you been?
I was getting deals. I don't know. Anything? You were a hoot last night.
Oh, hi. Please delete all of your copies of me reading fan fiction. Or creating fan fiction, even worse, yeah. No, I love this con. I love coming back here every year, or coming back as many times as I've been, and it's just always been cool. It's like one of those chill places. I can just talk to you guys, It's just always fun, and yeah, I appreciate it. And I found that Soul Raven on Game Boy Advance for $5.
What was the question? Oh, sup? Retropalooza rocks. See you all next year? Question mark?
October 19th.
I mean, like, is it confirmed? Great. Great. I'll be here next year. I'll be here next year. Let's do it.
No nuts.
You don't need to know nuts anything. I'll be here.
Thank God not here this year.
I was just gonna say really quick. I'm not a parent, but I do have a lot of underage nieces, and something that I found interesting is that, like, watching them grow up, they were all about Justin Bieber, and then one day they were like, we hate him, and I'm like, why? Like, it's just a week ago you loved him, and they found out how real it was. They found out, like, the scummy things that he did. Like, it's hard to make that judgment call, but I think kids know more than we give them credit for sometimes. I think they can actually see through the BS from time to time, and it's like, I feel like it's just a matter of time. They're like, wow, Logan Paul's an idiot. And they'll see through the facade and they'll get through it. Now, whether or not they've been corrupted internally or not, like, that's the scary part for the parent. It's like, I don't want my kid to believe that this is okay as they grow up, but I think we should give kids a little bit more credit.
I'd also like to obviously I'm not a parent, at least I'm pretty sure I'm not. But I do have two little brothers. One is 11 and one is 16, and it's fascinating because I'm an early 90s baby, and so my parents are also very young. They're not technologically inept, but they don't generally watch YouTube in the same way that I was raised by the internet. I remember, and honestly relating to my preteen little brother, he's talking about how excited he is to watch his first rated R movie. And I remember going on Newgrounds after my parents went to sleep, trying to find the mature rated content. Whenever I say, are you over 18? My birthday is January 1st, 1939. They show me the pixelated movies. Kids are generally a lot smarter than we give them credit for, and it has always been the same way, same thing over time. All of these kids are trying to find more mature content, whether the parents are watching or not. They can't watch at all times. I know that some older people, I'm probably going to date y'all. I've heard a lot about tuning into HBO, trying to get Cinemax, get it just right.
They used to set these black boxes that were like descrambled.
I've heard great things about things, but it just shows that this kind of behavior transcends technology. You're always going to have kids trying to do this. A parent can just do the best job that they can.
My parents used to let me watch all sorts of
kidding.
fucked up shit.
That's what I want to say. You know, I was exposed to that. Have you ever seen Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead?
Yeah.
I was exposed to that movie at the age of 4. I don't know why, but I remember that movie distinctly at the age of 4. And look, I'm not a parent. I was a kid. You know,
But I turned out fine. I've only killed 3 people.
I just want to add to that. I don't know about y'all growing up, but we got our asses whooped whenever we did something wrong. And a lot of times, that's what stopped us from fucking doing anything else. I mean, it just seems like society's taking our ability as parents, as the ones who should be in control, out of our control, to where we can't say, turn that shit off, I'm gonna whip that ass. Get your ass in gear and do something. That's what it seems like to me.
In other words, start beating your kids.
I don't condone violence, but I swear it works.
Real quick. I don't have kids, but I spent years and years teaching classes upon classes of middle school and high school kids comedy. Yeah, that's okay. Hey, I wish I was a teacher. I would probably get paid more than I do now. But check it out. Check it out. So one thing that I like just always think about a lot when I watch kids sit in a class. First of all, I'm in an environment with these kids where they're not with their parents, so I kind of think like I'm a little younger than most of their parents when I'm like in high school and stuff like that. Not too much anymore. I'm like 30 now, but like before I was a lot more like closer to their age, and so they see me as like, oh, they can like tell me stuff, and like the thing that I noticed that's like the big difference, and something that like I think about a lot, is that like think about how recently we've been able to watch a movie by ourselves, in a way that's affordable. It's only been 20, 30 years that we could even buy a freaking tape at the store, you know what I mean? And like TV's always been a thing, but TV, the difference is, TV is a very, it's like a public, you're out, you're open when you're watching TV. Not many kids, up until maybe the 90s even, or late 2000s, had TVs like in their room as like a common thing. Like the kid who had the TV in his room was like the bad bitch on campus when he was in elementary school, because you can go play the M games in his room, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing with phones and computers. It's like,
she doesn't have a phone.
What?
So she doesn't have a phone.
Oh, yeah.
That's so dangerous.
Yeah, whatever it is. I'm just saying, like, if it's a personal device, you're changing their relationship with media. You know what I mean? You're changing their relationship with media from the way that it's been for years and years and years. You know what I mean? Like, we had to buy it on paper at one point. You know what I mean? If you want to hear a song, you
Sheet music.
Yeah, you had to fucking learn how to play that shit. But like, the point that I'm making is, I think the conversation isn't about what should I let them watch, really. I think that conversation sort of handles itself as it unfolds. But I think the thing that's important that YouTube needs to do is to sort of like maybe advertise this and talk about how you need to bring that experience of watching YouTube, if you're young, bring it out into the world, bring it out into the open space where you can talk about it with people and stuff. Like, you just watch that Slenderman, I just watched that Slenderman HBO documentary about this girl who like dragged her best friend in the forest and stabbed him because they wanted to sacrifice him to Slenderman, right? It's a complete fundamental misunderstanding of how the world works, right? They literally were like, we wanted to take her to the Slender Mansion so we could become his like Slender buddies or whatever, right? It's crazy, right? It's insane. But the reason that they were able to do this is just because they have the ability to tell themselves their own stories about this media that they're watching, and it changes your perception of what's possible and what's real. And I think better than anything else, just get a Chromecast, throw that shit on the TV, and then it's like the court of like, what can I watch? You know what I mean? It's like, there's no way to pretend like you're not, if you want to watch a YouTube video, you're going to watch it, but it's going to be out in the open, and it's going to be something that we all talk about, and it's going to be what you own. You don't have a secret personality that you're developing based on stuff that you're not supposed to watch. Because of course, when you're not supposed to watch something, the moment you're alone, what the fuck are you going to do? You know what I mean? So, to me, I think that's the thing. I think kids would talk to each other more when they're young if they have more time consuming media open instead of like it. And that, to me, that's like the philosophical thing for me. Just as a teacher for groups. I can't talk to the personal relationship with my own kid because I don't have one. But that, to me, that's where it's at.
That's pretty much our dynamic, yeah. She watches it on the TV, not on a small, isolated personal device.
I think that's like the best step that you can take, to be honest.
Thank you.
I think that pretty much much wraps up the panel. It wraps up the Thank you all very, 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 very much from the bottom of my